Hey guys, here we go with today's setup using the same brush that we've been using lately, Declaration Grooming B9A 24 millimeter, and it's got a great that darn rob handle. And today I'm actually soaking it in kind of warm water to see if maybe that could allow the bristles to kind of be a little bit more flexible than they have been lately. Seeing if maybe that's a trick that could help me out. And I'm only soaking it in warm water, not hot, and I'm only soaking the bristles and not up into the handle. I don't want any kind of temperature changes due to the heat expansion and that sort of thing. I don't want that in the glue knot that holds the bristles together, nor do I want it where the glue knot contacts the handle. We don't want the knot falling out later. All right, other gear, WR1 from Wolfman, and this is a 46 gap, a very mild gap, and I'm trying to find a good, I think I found some, but I'm trying to remember which blades are really awesome with this particular gap. So I'm going to try my Nacet today. Not too many uses on it, just about 5. And then today's, I think we only have 2 more left after this, from the Declaration Grooming sample. Cygnus X-1 is, I think it's Bond Street from one of the New York publishing fragrance houses. This is a duplication of. Scott said this was a dupe. It was not his own original creation, and we'll talk more about that later. I made a few trips back to my room to get my brush and 2 or 3 other things, and I realized I left my soap cup and what it contains, my syringe, all that stuff. And so I'm just using a normal cup today, and I'm just going to use my thumb to hook out what I think might be the right amount of soap. So we're kind of being a little bit more like the Wild West here today, as opposed to my usual scooping method with trying to get a certain amount of soap, because I figured out how much is a little bit less than a 1/4 teaspoon is just about the perfect amount in some of these samples that I've used so far. So this is my 3D printed bowl, and I am going to press this, basically a cream, into the bottom of it. All right, let's see what kind of scent we get from the dry. Not very strong. Really hard to pick out notes. I think I'm picking up something woody, but it's so light, it's really tough to say. Let's look at the description that Scott gave for this soap. He said it's a sophisticated and fun at the same time. It evokes walking on a sunny day in the city, passing people dressed up for work. You could be on your way to work or on your way to the club and never have to worry about smelling out of place. Suitable for all seasons and occasions. This one's a dupe, he says, not an original scent, of a scent by a New York-based perfume house named after a specific street in New York City. I don't know enough about that New York house to know which one it is even. I'm less into the fragrances, the actual colognes and EDTs and all that stuff, except the ones by the people who make our soaps that we see so often. But I think I remember somewhere somebody saying it was Bond Street was the name of the fragrance. So let us get this Nacet out, and this is not my Nacet of legend that has 366 shaves on it. This is one I use for testing purposes, because it's not really a fair test if I test a Nacet in a razor that you're interested in if I use a Nacet that has more uses than you can possibly usually put on a blade. So this is my tester. Once it gets up to about 10 or 11, I'll throw it away and get a new tester blade. All right. Looks good. 46 gap, very mild, kind of out of spec. is a custom that somebody got James to do at Wolfman, and then I bought this secondhand. Let me get my face wet. I've been meaning to give this brush a long soak with its bristles. So I'm curious if this kind of short average soak is in warm water is going to show any kind of difference in what I've experienced from this brush so far. All right, I don't think I'm going to get a warm lather because it takes me a few minutes to build up a lather, and so I think it'll be room temperature by then. So, and that's fine. It's fine with me. I'm going to shake out much of the actual water. I'm not going to keep shaking as much because we're not measuring water today anyway. We'll just kind of eyeball it. We've definitely seen that the Milksteak produces a wonderful lather. So we'll see if I can get that without measuring today. And I don't think that's going to be a problem because the milestones, the landmarks that I look for in my soap are not dependent on how much water has come out of the syringe that I usually use. It's the visual cues from the lather, how it sounds, how it looks, those sort of things. We can start by adding water kind of bigly, in a big way, in the beginning, because we're not yet near when it's time to slow down and be more precise. He didn't really give us any scent notes in that write-up, did he? It's almost musty. Yeah, interesting. It's very faint. It's not a strong one, kind of like a few of the other options that I've been using lately. I tell you what, that epiphenomenon, I used that most recently. I wasn't really enjoying it at first because it wasn't very noticeable. Unless I put my nose in the bowl like that, I didn't really get very much of it. And even then, I wasn't really picking up on its nuances. And so I basically shaved 3 passes, or at least 2, without really noticing the scent very much. Then, at the end, I really started dissecting it a little bit. Oh, here, I think I got a little citrus right there. I started dissecting that epiphenomenon, and man, if you watch, I was watching the video now because just recently here because I was trying to write down how much water I had used and keep track of that, And you could see my demeanor change in the video. All of a sudden, I was very thoughtful as I was describing it, and I had slowed down, and I could tell I had the epiphany of epiphenomenon had hit me, and I realized what an amazing scent it was that I just so enjoyed. But unfortunately, it was just so light that I had a hard time enjoying it. But I was able to kind of start to see the skillfulness with which he put that scent together. Wonderful, wonderful piece of engineering. Yeah, there's a little like a bright, I'm still getting the musty parts, but maybe something a little grassy. Maybe a tiny hint of citrus. So that could be lemongrass, right? That's looking pretty good, huh? Let's go a little bit more. stand still. The cup method of adding water is nice when you're adding big amounts, but when you start to need to add smaller amounts, all of a sudden it takes a bit of care to not let a lot of water spill out when you only want a little bit. It's one of the reasons I switched to the syringe a few years ago. Oh yeah, this is getting even better. Look at that. That's gorgeous. A little bit more. I think we're good. Let's try that. Definitely got enough soap on my thumbnail. All right. First glance, first feel, I don't feel like the warm water gave me any kind of advantage. Very stiff. I think the longer soak is more important than the temperature of the water. This thing's got a long way to go before I enjoy it. It's got a lot of backbone it needs to kind of lose, so I don't know that it's going to make it. The tips are also not as nice as like my B5s and B4s. I do see why Scott might have compared it to the B4. And if I could have maybe gotten this knot a little lofted a little higher, it could make all the difference in the world. But Scott does not do custom lofts. All right, I think we've scrubbed enough. There we go. That's a nice hydrated lather. Yeah, I definitely see where the description is coming from. It is a very light scent, but I am picking up that cologne type of scent and how it does feel like it's really suitable for any occasion. It's kind of smooth, unassuming, not very bright, kind of more bass note friendly. So I might like that. I might like that cologne. Might have to see if there are any dupes of that cologne. Well, I guess maybe Cygnus X-1 might come out in an EDP or an EDT. All right, let's see how this Nacet does. Oh yeah, now see, this is doing better than the 7 o'clock black. Cutting more smoothly with less audio, less scrapiness. A little smoother. 24 hours is what we're working on. Yeah, this is nice. This is a good one. 24 hours meaning the hair growth. This is a normal 1 day type shave. Very nice. Again, the scent is very light with this. Very light. All right. Rinse. All right. When you have a very narrow brush, it doesn't have a lot of soap in it, and it's got a lot of backbone. Bores are sometimes this way. They're kind of concentrated. Well, shove the brush down into the lather. Now notice I'm not letting it splay all the way. I think that's kind of punishment for brushes. Maybe it's splaying 80%. And so that gets the inside of the knot full of lather, and that helps these brushes that are so dense to not just kind of lose all their lather at once. Yeah, this is a great mix of the Milksteak soap. Nice soap and water ratio. And cross grain. Ooh, that's beautiful. So much of the cutting was done that in that pass one, that this is just wonderful. Very smooth. I don't hear any scrapiness very much at all, because the work was done before in pass number one, and it's just smoothly moving through hair. This is what we're talking about right here. This is the kind of blade I'm looking for. Just to, you know, I usually mix it up a lot, but every once in a while I'll pick up a razor and say, I want to use this razor. And I want to pick a blade that I've gotten a really smooth shave from before. I think in my database that I have, I'm going to have to create a field to track the how good the blade and the razor worked together. I'll have to think about that. Maybe in terms of smoothness. I'm not real sure. I'll have to think about what kind of metrics there. There could be multiple metrics at play there. Face feels great. No irritation. Face feels smooth already. So I feel like I'm getting a nice cut. Again, pressing the brush down in there. And after 3 passes, this is how much lather we have. So maybe 2 passes in there. And that's about right. That's about what I go for. So my thumbnail was pretty accurate today. And now this is going to be a very smooth shave, since we've already gone over everything twice. And that second time was smooth. And this one's even smoother. Okay, change my attack here on this section. See what we get. It's not the best, but that's pretty average to get a little bit of threatening razor burn when I take that kind of tilt right there. And just kind of see if I can just pick up a few miscellaneous. And this sometimes reminds me that I'm still dealing with a sharp blade. It may feel super smooth on those, pretty much the first 3 passes, but with my neck and the convex nature of a person's neck, you have to be very careful sometimes. All right, let's rinse. Well, again, like the epiphenomenon, the scent was so light that I kind of breezed through the whole shave not really experiencing the soap as a part of the shave. It's just a hint, a little hint during the shave. Yeah, I can smell the kind of cologne nature of it now. Not quite as musty as it was before. It's a really nice scent. I just wish it were stronger. It's like a 2 or 3 out of 10 for me. Probably a 2 during the shave. And then when I stick my nose in the bowl, it's maybe like a 4 or a 5 because I do get some of it. No, it's really like a 4. It's not even average when I have my nose in the bowl. It's one of the disadvantages of using so much water, but I think he really toned this one down for some reason. All right. Well, the performance was excellent. Very slick. Very nice. Face feels great. The cut was very nice. So this is a excellent combo because it was comfortable and close cutting. Maybe that's maybe my score on how well the blade worked in the razor should be 2 components: comfort and close cutting. Because I've said for years that those are kind of the 2 things that I look at in a blade, and I usually prefer the comfort over the close cutting. If you have to sacrifice one, I will sacrifice a good close cut to have a comfortable shave every day. That's my personal preference. But it's even better when you can get the golden ratio where both scores are high. So yeah, maybe kind of a dual score system, and then maybe you add them up together. Now for me, maybe the comfort might be twice as important as the closeness, perhaps. I'll have to see. But some good food for thought. All right, now Declaration Grooming, back when they were called L&L, they made some liniments. And this is actually, it says Declaration Grooming, so obviously they did make these after they transitioned and merged from Declaration Brushworks and L&L Grooming and became Declaration Grooming. And this liniment is kind of like a balm. It's a little thicker than a lotion in many cases, but it's rare. A lot of guys love it, and it's very prized, and it hit me that I better start using some of this stuff up because it may go bad on me because it's not a hard puck, a milled product, and so could get some bacteria and that sort of thing coming into play, and we don't want that. I am going to get a few drops of water on my fingers here to kind of help it's almost like a salve. It's definitely more viscous than a balm. Oh, and this is the try this soap. I think that was an effort with trythatsoap.com, where you can register your own shave of the day. You can also research scents of the past and see their scent notes and write-ups and things, which is a great place to go and I really like this scent. It's got a little bit of a sweetness to it, a little bit of natural something to it, almost like fruit. They combine some of the popular scents that, gathering from the data that people were putting in terms of their shaves of the day, that sort of thing. I think their thought process was, what are some scents that we should put together based on popularity that don't happen to be together already in some kind of soap? Almost taking a scientific approach to it, like, let's take the popular notes and put them all together and see what we get. Might be what they were doing. And it ended up to be something I really enjoy. Now, they did it again. Try this soap 2.0, and it had something mixed in there that wasn't me. Something foresty, something maybe juniper, almost like a eucalyptus or juniper kind of scent that I don't care for very much. But yeah, I need to start using these liniments up. It's thicker, definitely thicker than a lotion. Smells nice, and not going to get any conflict with the Cygnus because it's so light that this aftershave product, not a problem. Taking its scent and putting it on me instead of and not fighting with the Cygnus. All right, well, wow, this is you know what? If I like this scent, I can get the aftershave. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here, and that might be what, or at least use this as a launching off point to say, I love this scent. I think I like this scent, what I was able to smell of it. Therefore, let me research the cologne that it's a dupe of and see if somebody else has duped it in an EDP or, something like that. Because there are other people who do dupes. One thing about the expensive colognes and EDPs, eau de parfums, eau de toilettes. One thing about the expensive ones, sometimes you get what you pay for. The scent oils that they use are longer lasting in the expensive brands in some cases. And so you may get something that at the Dollar Tree or for $20 that smells very similar to a cologne you like, but then it may not have the staying power that the real thing has. And so it may be gone in an hour where the real thing may last you 6 hours. And so just, I try out the dollar stuff. I have fun with it. In a way, I like that it only lasts me an hour because then I can switch and try something else. That's just the way I am. But some types of scents do last longer than other types. So if you happen to like a really good scent, play around with something from Family Dollar or the Dollar Tree and see if it lasts. See if you like it. Why not? Give it a shot. And if it doesn't last very long, then think about, well, what do I do now? Do I, maybe I do save up. Maybe I get a decant of it. There are some guys there's a subreddit called Frag Splits, I think. And it's all these colognes and stuff. And guys will pay big money and buy the big bottles. And they'll buy these little sampler type containers. Not like this, of course, but it'll be a spray or whatever. And you'll be able to buy a smaller quantity, something you can afford, maybe $20 worth of, Creed Aventus, a very popular cologne, instead of $160 or whatever it costs to get the big quantity. You can get $20 worth, maybe 5 milliliters, or I don't know what the going rate is. I think they differ depending on the colognes. But if you're interested in trying out some fragrances, there are ways to do it on the cheap, or at least slightly on the cheap. And then that way you can tell if you like the big guy, and then you might want to save up if you do like it. All right, well, there we go. The lather worked very well. It's gorgeous. It's still holding up in the bowl there. It's not dissipating at all. The liniment feels very nourishing. My face is very sticky. It'll absorb probably over the next 10 minutes or so. And great smells with that. So I did like the Cygnus. Unfortunately, it's so light that it's really hard to perceive. The brush did not do me any favors today. It was still quite stiff. But so many things about the shave were enjoyable that it's a good shave. Oh, especially the blade combo with the razor. That worked really well today. That Nacet, man, that worked well. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that this has got some good info for you to help you out in your shaving journey. I love the good reports that I'm getting from you guys, commenting on videos, saying that you learned something or that it helped you in some way. That's why I'm here. I realize there are plenty of people that I can learn from out there, but there are also some people that I can help too. So we'll do what we can, right? Stay safe. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. All the best to you and your family and friends and loved ones. You take care. Good night.